We are here on emergency pod mode. Um, I just received a text message that says, "Who to blame?" For what, you say, Tony, as I join you from the insides of my lunch break and vehicle. I was not able to make it out of training today. Training is actually happening or just happened meet availability. So that's usually around the time that news drops for San Diego FC. And I really hope that our colleagues were able to get some sound from training about the announcement that just happened. Abe here. We don't have a lot of time. You can have it as long as you want, Abe, but it had just got announced that Milan Iloski, the San Diego Starlets that was making a name for himself, they were selling those jerseys, number 32. Now they are going to be part of history because he is no longer part of San Diego FC and their plans moving forward. As of now, mutually terminating their contract, their loan deal. He will return to FC Norseland at this point. Abe, hi. I don't what's I mean, we
It's
had a show yesterday.
yeah, and
So,
I think you were very much of the opinion that a deal was going to get done, and it honestly seemed that way. I thought this
yeah.
was just a bit of public negotiations, like it's July 14th, like they're going to be talking this through. Obviously, those were strong words from Mikey Varas, but you assume it's a loan agreement. He's from San Diego. There's a connection to the club. He's going to be here at least through the end of the agreement, and then go all happy days back to FC Nordstrom. But for them to immediately just like terminate the contract this early says to me that there was something went sour in those negotiations, or because of those comments by Mikey Vada.
Yeah, San Diego Punto Football, the account, I do also believe, tweeted out the fact that this was a breakdown of negotiations between player and club. The club being San Diego FC. This is not a breakdown in negotiations between FC Norseland and San Diego FC. So for sure, let's kind of get that just
Yeah,
as clear as we can right now. FC North. This isn't a big sister, little sister, sibling, like however you want to categorize that. It's not that situation where FC Northland wanted Milan Iloski back, therefore they got him back and put Sdfc in their place, and this is where you're at. But this is again the same mechanic of, well, he's still not here anyways. Why that's the case? Again, it just seems like, and from what I understand from multiple sources, is that they were just the Milan's camp and Milan were just asking for too much in order to go ahead and have him agree to stay in San Diego long term. And San Diego FC just essentially called their bluff.
and
Um,
is he asking for too much, or is San Diego FC not wanting to pay enough? Like, I think this is a case of like a team being a little bit cheap, in my opinion, because he's been playing at an
mhm.
unreal level. Like, what do you like? What
Yeah,
is asking too much? Like, he's unbelievable right now. So obviously, you should be getting paid unbelievable money. No.
I agree. Right, this is a once in a lifetime situation, literally lifetime. Why? Because you don't have an inaugural season ever again. You don't have an impact player that came in and resolved so much for you in so little time. Again, take out those goals by Milan Iloski. Where are those coming from? You had to go get Milan Iloski because Marcus Invarson wasn't working for you.
And
He was injured.
this is all from start stemming from reporting that we and you have done about this whole situation getting back to the beginning, really. Marcus Vartson gets injured. We announce the injury. Sandy FC is probably a little bit annoyed that we announced that he's going to be out for 11 weeks. So they go out, they sign a striker on loan, Milan Iloski. He doesn't play the first couple games. And then when he does play, he's a sub, scoring amazing goals. And then all of a sudden, people are like, "Why isn't he starting?" People, I was probably of the opinion like, "Hey man, just leave him. He's amazing off the bench." But then he does start and scores 4 goals against the best team in the league. And then now you're letting him go? It's insane.
It's incredible here. An emergency pod for two balls and a mic with Abe and I. Again, we had a whole episode yesterday. Go back and
Yeah,
listen
go
to that.
watch
Right,
it.
go watch
Get the
it.
context. It's so like because we all thought, "Hey, this is negotiations. They'll figure it out."
I've again, and this is why I'm okay. I'm not going to backtrack here. New information is coming in, therefore I adjusted the new information. New information is coming in, and at the point last night, I was sure that, like, yeah, it's just like that. Something is going. I'm confident something's going to work out. It has to. There's no way this doesn't happen, and somebody will see the reason. But again, this was a situation where San Diego FC called Milan Iloski's bluff and his team and said, you know what? You want this much? You're not going to get this much. Oh, well, we're going to leave if we're not going to get this much. Okay, there's the door, and the door was shown. Milan Iloski no longer part of San Diego FC. He is now over back with the sibling club of FC Norseland. Again, has nothing to do with FC Norseland and their plans. It's just something that the club in San Diego FC was not able to come to an agreement with for them. And I mean, now well, that's a discussion, right? Why? Why? Why is this not happening? You can't point to money. You just mentioned it, Abe. Like there's money to be spent. We were talking about it all day, all last night on Two Balls and a Mic. What's the reason? Now you have to dig deeper. If on the stat sheet a player is doing what Milan Iloski is doing, it can't possibly be because of what he's doing there. There's underlying aspects that whatever he was doing on the field, you weren't liking as SDFC. Whatever was happening on the way, the play style that he was executing, maybe you weren't liking. He was a maverick. He was a loose cannon. He was going against the grain of FC Norseland and their playbook and their play style a lot of different times, which is those spaces where San Diego FC was able to find success and score. You saw it when San Diego FC was trying. They were stubborn with their play style. They had a rut. They got some ties that should have been victories, some defeats that should have been ties. And you're just putting this together as far as like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this melding? Well, throw in a Milan Lusky, who's an X factor, who sees the same thing from a different angle and ends up resolving a lot of those patches. You're in first place because of Milan Iloski, and now to not reciprocate that respect is interesting. Maybe you do reciprocate it. Maybe Milan Iloski again was asking for the moon and the stars and the Milky Way and the universe and like you ask for that, but you have to be able to bring that down and be realistic with your value. Because again, now if you're Milan Iloski, now the opportunity kind of ends. There's a chance that, you know what, negotiations broke down and they don't ever want to talk to you again because you're difficult to negotiate with. And you're never going to see Milan Iloski wearing a San Diego FC jersey for the rest of his career.
Yeah, this is nuts. And also, just I was looking this up. FC Northland season starts on July 20th, so that could just be a
5 days from now.
that's 5 days from now. So if you're thinking about it from if you really want to believe like everything that was in the statement by San Diego FC that he wants to go explore his opportunities in Europe and like really dedicate time to the FC Northland season, then you can believe that because I mean this is the beginning of the FC Northland season. If he wants to be a starter and part of that system and still like performing and getting like starting minutes, because that's a whole nother thing. Mikey Vades has been hesitant to start Milan Iloski. If Milan Iloski's number one thing is wanting to start, then he probably has a better chance of doing that in FC Northland, where the other strikers are all 18 or 19 years old.
And that's if FC Northland even wants him back, right? The deal was mutually terminated between San Diego FC and Milan Iloski. It's not necessarily to say that FC Northland even had an option in here. Those two decided to mutually end their contract. Could you go ahead and I'm on my phone. I'm on my lunch
Do you
break.
want me to read
Hi,
the
two balls and
statement?
Mike. Can you read the statement officially? What it was that came through San Diego Punto Football's email this morning?
Okay. Here is the official word. San Diego City announced today, club and forward have agreed to mutually loan termination effective today. He's going to rejoin sister club. Quote from Tyler Heaps: "We want to thank Milan for his time and his contributions to San Diego FC. He played an important role in our early history, and we respect his desire
His
to
desire.
return to FC Northland and his decision to pursue other opportunities at this time. We wish him the best in the next stage of his career."
Wash their hands of this situation. Milan Iloski decided to leave, you guys. Milan Iloski decided to abandon and give their back to San Diego. Is
And
what this
that's what
statement
they are
essentially
saying.
is what San Diego FC is strongly inferring. and that's for everybody to take their own interpretation in. But black and white stats on the field, as I see a lot of reaction. I wish I can have better eyesight to read some of the comments that are coming in here. But if you really just see where this is gonna where the rubber hits the road, it's on Wednesday, tomorrow. If San Diego FC versus Toronto, if they're missing a spark and Tomas Sanchez just isn't getting it together, and they tie a game that they should win, that they're one goal away, questions are going to start.
And
The
then they
breakdowns,
play Vancouver on Saturday, the team
the,
that he scored 4 goals against. At the
exactly.
very least, keep him through the freaking weekend. No, like that's crazy.
And
The
if
whole
you
point of
want that,
alone is like we need reinforcements. Just play him. Like you, and it's a mutual agreement. Obviously, they're saying it's his decision, but like they should have just
was it
played him.
so bad and toxic that you couldn't wait half a month? It's July 15th. It was going to end and fizzle out and not have any of this drama in 15 days, in 2 weeks. Hey, at least have bench fodder because guess what, San Diego FC? You have even thinner a squad now. Now you're going to have to find a replacement for Alvarado, somebody who step in maybe for that Ander Reyes. You take Bruce Stefan and say, you know what, loan, I'm gonna loan you out. By now, you're like usually there's addition by subtraction, but this isn't a double negative where a negative and a negative and a subtraction makes eventually a positive. No, you're gonna need some numbers to add up at the end of the day, and right now it's a very difficult point because you're gonna go into Leagues Cup. Everybody was thinking, oh, Milan's going to come in. This is going to help us bolster this and this and this. Maybe Tomas Angel steps in Varsen, get some numbers here. But for MLS and the league, we got Iloski, and, we're going to try to work him out throughout as much as we can. But either way, this is a catastrophic just result for the fans. The fan base is now getting a first taste and a first look of what MLS negotiations are going to be moving forward. Very public the way this happened. It was very direct and to the point. Blame is being dealt with and say, hey, he wanted to go. We let him go. We called his bluff. There he goes. And enjoy FC Northland from now on. But now the question is, okay, who are you bringing in? You're losing players. It's not a good sign. Add some players, but even then, if you're somebody who's in that locker room and maybe doesn't have all the context of what happened in the negotiations, you may start asking questions yourself. Hey, Dreyer and Iloski had an incredible connection. Now and you've seen it, Dreyer hasn't necessarily melded well with Tomas Angel. He's getting in Tomas Angel's way, and Tomas Angel is getting in the way of Dreyer. Uh, you're just going to have to force that in and work with that for the rest of the season. If there's something that could have taken this trajectory that's going this way and just and have it start going down, it's a self-inflicted wound like this. And again, I'd love to get more context, more numbers as far as like what exactly was the holdup? What couldn't you pay, Milan Iloski? What made it impossible for him to just say, you know what? You may be the bad boy of Right to Dream. You may be this, Tom Cruise and Top Gun, like you do things your way, and that's fine. But at least you have that. At least you can resort to that. At least you have, where are we going to play? Mano Dua at striker now? Or are we going to get, can Lawful Send, I guess, play striker? Here you can play midfield. You haven't had the courage or to put him in midfield when you desperately needed some fresh legs in there, and the games are starting to get dicey.
I think they hope Valakari maybe can go back to striker and do something there, but we don't know the extent of Marcus Ingvartsen's injury.
Yep.
Like we don't know if it's a re-aggravation. We just know it's lower body, which is just as a soccer player, everything's a lower body injury pretty much. But
Yeah.
like it's this is nuts.
Okay, and going with that, in Marcus Ingvartsen, right? Like, if you go based on raw data and a small sample size, Marcus Ingvartsen is incredibly injury prone. So even if he's healthy tomorrow and comes in 100%, you're just waiting at this point because you already have different situations where he's just kind of disappeared. Sure, we have sourced information, and same here. Like it's just incredible, just the decision that was here. Now, thinking about this bigger picture, take that 20,000 foot view of what's going on. If you're MLS, if you're anybody who's on the schedule for San Diego FC, the sigh of relief that just happened. Vancouver is just Birdman hand rubbing into Snapdragon Stadium. Of like, ooh, you know what? Last time we scored two. They had a guy that scored four on us. Does this mean that we're going to win 2-0? Subtract the Milan Iloski. That game is 2-0. Vancouver wins.
Yeah.
And that's very rudimentary, like it doesn't work that way type of math.
Yeah.
I understand that, but there's reactions, there's overreactions, and then there's just witnessing what's happening. I think for myself, like I just stuffed my lunch. I'm in the middle of a work meeting, and like this is one of these things where I'm just like, really, like why you couldn't because. If you're saying, oh, he's going to go back to FC Northland, their season starts in 5 days, are you really setting up that player for success by having him integrate into a team that he hasn't had a preseason in and really ramp that up back in there? You got fortunate; it happened once, and he was able to join Sdfc, which in itself was going through a kind of preseason the first couple of games. So once they kind of, it's not setting anybody up for success. Now you send him over, and you're like, oh, you'll be fine over there. Okay, how does that land for FC Northland? Now does FC Northland want us to say, "Oh, he's a problem. We need to get rid of him"? The only reason, the only reason, the only reason, and again, just insights. If you're playing and you're following with two balls and a mic this whole time and all along, right? One can remember Milan Iloski comes from Orange County in the USL. Legend up there. USL's Orange County had a partnership with San Diego FC. They allowed Duran Ferry to go over and be loaned over there. They didn't like the way that was happening, sent Duran Ferry over to FC Northland. During that time, right before FC Northland actually received Milan Iloski, and that's their project. And we always knew, oh, it's because he's going to join SDFC.
Yeah.
Like that's the pipeline. It's going to
This is
eventually
before
happen.
like San Diego State had any players too. Like
Yeah,
we
literally
all
any
saw this
players.
coming. This is probably their first player when you really think about it. Like
100%.
this is their first transaction ever, and they're letting him go back, and things have gotten sour, and it's weird. I know there's gonna be more stuff that comes out too. I'm sure at some point we'll hear from Milan Iloski. I don't know how much we'll hear from media from FC Northland. They speak a different language over there, so it's always harder to like get stuff or get those same questions and stuff because they might just be like, oh, he just came back. Like it's nuts, man. It's freaking nuts. Like I just think this is gonna be a story the entire season now. Because when there's a moment where the Masan misses a chance, or anybody in that thing misses a chance, like Milan could have done it, or like
and,
that would have been nice to have him off the bench. And
and
up
imagine
until
that
the
pressure.
playoffs, like just having a goal scoring play, like almost every team that you talk to or hear from, people that we've talked to around the MLS this year, they always just saying, yeah, they're missing a really solid striker. San Diego FC had that, and
Yeah.
they let it go, which is just crazy.
There's going to be a point in San Diego FC's inaugural season that like today's that pivotal point.
You
The
think so?
moment of SDFC before Milan Iloski, well, the third at now, before Milan Iloski, during Milan Iloski, post Milan Iloski.
Okay.
What's San Diego FC's trajectory going to be here? And this can be as meaningless as, you know what? San Diego FC was right. The system is bigger than the player and the name on the back of the jersey. And they do well and they carry it and have the greatest inaugural season that any team has ever had. That can happen, or they can crash out all the way into the championship game. And in the championship game, they're one penalty away that Tomas Angel ends up missing, and you're like,
Tomas
Milan
Angel's
Iloski would have
never
scored
taken a
that.
penalty. It's Andres Jair, Chucky Lozano, and then probably Godoy, Anibal Godoy. Like there's
As
no chance Tomas Angel ever gets a penalty.
uh, and that is my alarm to come on back from lunch.
Okay.
Abe, you can chill here and you can end it.
I'll talk with the
Milan Iloski
chat
no
for a little
longer.
bit. I'm gonna pull up the chat and read some of the things they have to say. I'll react to it a little bit and then hop off. Just short little 30-minute thing. Bye, Tony. Thank you for your time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Have
All right.
fun.
Well, enjoy the chaos.
Yeah,
Oh, hi.
it's chaos. It's fun. It's crazy. Yeah, you guys, if you're in the chat, you can leave your thoughts here. I'm gonna start scrolling back now to a little bit of the
Love it.
beginning here from Jeremy. We see, glad to see you fired up as I am.